Nothing beats a long and tireless day than a bath. After all, there are a lot of factions out there fighting each other to the death. But Mr. Doge is safe and sound in his nice, beautiful city. Oh, god damn it, what now? Huh. What's this?
No! Not doing that! I refuse! I put my foot down!
Hello? 10-foot distance, please!
Don't. Hi.
Oh my god, that is so terrifying! Holy crap, that is so...
Okay, well...
It looks weird.
All right,
I'm kidding.
all right,
It doesn't
I
look
got
weird.
it.
He moves when I turn, and apparently. Wow! Wow! Go! Oh, he's coming! I can't move!
Crazy, and then keep right there.
Whoa, look at his mins! He's got some big old mins right there. Maybe jump. Yeah, I might want to jump off the edge, I think, guys.
The amount of cringe I had because of those Let's Players just trying to be scared. I think I've reached my fucking limit. Anyways, howdy folks, this is Mr. Doge, and each and every one of you is wonderful in your own special way. And today we will be talking about this super scary and scary game that is super scary. Did I mention that it was scary? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is another indie horror game, like Nun Massacre. Okay, I shouldn't be comparing it to Nun Massacre. Nun Massacre is a masterpiece that can literally make players cry of fear. Speaking of cry of fear, which is also another amazing indie horror game. But anyway, Garten of BanBan is... how do I say this? A ripoff of Poppy Playtime. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mr. Doge, you can't just call it a ripoff of Poppy Playtime. That's like saying Gary's Mod is a ripoff of JB Mod. Now, that is a good point, but not really. And also, it doesn't work here. Poppy Playtime is scary in its own unique way, mostly because of how the monsters move. Especially in Event. Like, that shit is scary as fuck. And also how unpredictable the game is. Garten of BanBan just tries too hard to be scary. And as you can tell, gamers can tell. Don't tell me that Markiplier actually got genuinely scared to this game, compared to Nun Massacre or Five Nights at Freddy's. Jump scare warning, by the way.
Oh! What do I do? Oh! Ah! Or a claw. Ah! Why the hell was that? Ah! I didn't mean it! I'm stunned! Ah! Okay, so the first night is never usually that bad in any of the games, so I'll play through. Ah, fuck! What the fuck? Oh!
Please tell me I'm not the only one that noticed he was faking it. Please tell me the only features in his face was, jump scare. Hell, he had more reaction towards SpongeBob getting tortured. Now, I'm not saying that Markiplier was faking his fear. But come on, look at this reaction compared to FNAF 4.
Oh! Ah! Play through. Ah, fuck!
Alright, let's stop talking about the pussiness of gamers and start talking about the game itself. Quote unquote. For a parent looking for their missing child, time is a delicate manner. Oh, that's the only thing that talks about the story. Wow. That was easy. Okay, but seriously, why is this the only proof of a story? Why isn't there any clever way of revealing a story? Like Nun Massacre with diary pages being revealed throughout the game. Or even Phone Guy in FNAF 1. or even just an unsudden synopsis of Poppy Playtime's Chapter 1 screen. So from what I can assume from the message is that you are a parent looking for their missing child. So you enter the daycare where your child went missing in. That daycare being called BanBan's Kindergarten. There, that's a story for now. Now let's get into the actual game. Quote unquote game. As the game starts, the first thing that I would ask myself is,
What kind of daycare is this?
there's mechanical doors that are controlled by these buttons on the walls that no one can fucking reach? And also, where is everyone? Like, the intro never said that the daycare was closed down or abandoned. Hell, looks ready to have kids just jump in to have fun. But this to me is kinda dragging away from the horror aspect. You see, in games like Nun Massacre or Poppy Playtime, the maps are either dim or completely dark, and somewhat abandoned looking, giving it that sort of eerie feel like you don't know what's gonna happen. But with Garten of BanBan, it's always lit. And that kind of ruins a horror game, because now the player has no fear or nervousness before moving on. But anyway, you have to get a drone to hit the buttons, like that's not tedious at all. And as soon as the door opens, you are greeted by the bird, which is what made the game popular with memes. Also, there are quote-unquote disturbing texts such as "the end is near" or "your pancreas is mine," or my favorite text, "Ooga booga booga ooga." And I guess this is supposed to act as a way to disturb or surprise the players, but to me it's more like it's trying too hard to be disturbing and weird. And as the player continues on, they enter the play area that kinda looks like Squid Games. And this is where the game, quote unquote, truly starts. The first thing you do in this play area is play Opila Bird's game. Feed Opila Bird 6 eggs to receive your prize. And once you do that, that's fucking nasty. And also, if
Children were playing this dumb game, then why the hell would you reward them with an employee key card?
so, you use a keycard to unlock the button in the naughty corner and press the button to get a hammer. Yeah, like if a child played this sick game, we shall reward them with a hammer. And use that hammer to hit the board down. Not nails on the board, just tick, tick. And why even bother with nailed up boards? Just lock a door or something. It already looks easy to get in even with the boards. And after that, you enter the ball pit, which is pretty dangerous considering there are no balls in the pit. It's an empty void. I think this would be very bad for children even if there were balls. Hell, you have to use a ski lift to move to the other side of the ball pit. After solving a puzzle, we finally get some sort of clue of the story. I alone. I want to play with the whole bird, but everyone left me. Everyone have party without me. Miss Mason see me but go. I'm scared because hole is loud and my friends scream in it, but bird is funny. Okay, take back any sort of clue of the story. But after that, Opila Bird comes over, and according to the game developers, the reason why Opila Bird doesn't attack directly is to replicate the actions of a predator. Now this would be a pretty cool concept, if Opila Bird didn't die in less than a minute. Huh, I wonder what that reminds me of. Yeah, and holy shit, Opila Bird just died! No! Also, let's talk about the jump scare. Okay, so let me just tell you how this jump scare is made. Get an image of a pillow bird, add a shake effect, and add a jump scare sound effect. And then, boom, you're done. Ah, that's a classic. This jump scare is too simple. Just too simple. Like I can make my own right. No! I seriously don't understand how lazy a jump scare can be. Like for a game, you gotta have some sort of unique jump scare. That's what makes your game unique. Like FNAF has the animatronics change their faces while jump scaring you. Or Puppy Playtime has Huggy Wuggy's millions of teeth show after a chase. Jesus Christ, get a dental plan. And Nun Massacre doesn't even have a quote-unquote traditional jump scare, but has the nun run at you as she screams at you. But this is just lazy! But anyways, after a pillow bird, you unlock the door to the main office. You then unlock a secret elevator. Again, very un-daycare-y. But I think the developers tried to bring the idea that there is much more to this daycare, besides not being a good daycare. And as the player goes down to the elevator, they are greeted by a giant green monster, you know, to add the shock factor. And boom, the end of chapter 1. Now, before we even talk about how it affects the state of indie horror, let's talk about the character design. Now first off, these are pretty simple character designs right here, and for a good reason. These characters are supposed to be mascots for the daycare, and of course are supposed to be meant for children. But here's my problem. They have a merch store, and this merch store features the simplified characters on hoodies, beanies, mugs, etc. Now, my real question is, why the hell would someone spend $50 on a hoodie with oversimplified design? But that's on the drawings. Let's talk about the actual designs. Now, what I like about Opillabird's design is that it perfectly replicates expectations versus reality. For example, when you see Chuck E. Cheese, you see a mouse that looks animated and ready for fun. And once you go in and you see the rat on stage, it looks... yeah. It looks kinda creepy. In fact, very creepy. Opillabird looks so simplified and cute in the artwork of her, but when you see her in the game, yeah, that's kinda creepy. But even though I like it, it's not necessarily impressive. We've seen the same thing in many other games before. And hell, we've seen it look even better. So even if the bird is pretty funny, it still doesn't excuse the fact that the character design is pretty bad. Alright, I know what some of you have been asking, how is it affecting the indie horror genre? Well, to put it simply, it sets the bar so low of what an actual impressive indie horror game should be. Bringing up Nun Massacre again, Nun Massacre is an amazing horror game that engages the player to keep playing, no matter how terrifying it is. But with Garten of BanBan, it's just a game that tries too hard to be scary, and fails at doing so. The jump scares aren't good, the character designs aren't good, the map design doesn't contribute to the already unscary atmosphere, and let's not mention that Opillabird's meme status isn't gonna save this game. Indie horror exists to bring out the creativity in developers to make something new and to create something that the audience would not usually be afraid of. Like how Nun Massacre makes the audience paranoid about every corner they walk around. Or how Cry of Fear makes you wonder what's the next terrifying monster. Or how FNAF makes you curious of what happens if you don't wind the music. Overall, the Garten of BanBan is right now defining indie horror. And that's not a good thing. Now, I'm not saying to go harass the developers of the game because they've already gotten plenty of harassment ever since the game got popular, but I am saying to not really expect much from Garten of BanBan. So please, don't attack them in any way because of this video. This video is mostly for criticism and an overall analysis of the game. Also, one more thing. If you are creating a horror game, please don't make it off of any other popular game. Be original and make it unique. Scott Cawthon created Five Nights at Freddy's because of critics that trashed on his game and said how his characters looked like animatronics, which inspired him into making FNAF. Or like Cry of Fear, which was originally supposed to be a Half-Life mod but became a bigger thing. Or I Am Scared, which is a unique and interesting horror game. If you make a game that is new and interesting, then you will gain a reputation for creating something new, even if some haters may disagree. The worst thing you can do is to create something that already exists. There are many solutions on how to save the genre of indie horror. So let's not let indie horror die because of a game that has been blowing up because of a bird meme. Well, that was Garten of BanBan. Like I said, not as good as Nun Massacre. Nun Massacre will always beat it. Anyways, I'd like to thank you all so much for subscribing. Like, holy shit, we made it to 1,000. And I have never actually been able to say thank you so much for that. I will try to make a 1,000 subscriber special, and I already have something in mind for it, but I'm kind of late to it, am I? But we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all I have to say for the show tonight. This is Mr. Doge saying, I'm just no good without you. I have never had a game made me feel as sick as this one. I remember watching my friend play it. I felt so sick after watching. God knows how he felt while playing it.